This episode of What's in the Box is brought to you by
Eager Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, Issue 3 is now on Kickstarter. Eager Raven, a half-unicorn, half-human princess, is forced from her enchanted kingdom of Edenron into one of the outer kingdoms of men. Eager Raven is unsure how she can help her people, but a chance encounter with a noblewoman and her unusual lady-in-waiting reveals a path more treacherous than fighting the Dragon Lords themselves. Please check out Eager Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn on Kickstarter today.
Hey there, wait a minute, Mr. Postman. Yeah, you right there, Mr. Postman. Hey, Mr. Postman, look at me. Is there a package just waiting for me? Where's my box? Where's my box? What's in the box?
All right, welcome back to another episode of What's in the Box. I'm your host with the most, Sam the Crazy Man, Vera. And we have a very special book, but as you can see, there's a parental advisory notice on the screen because this is very, very adult and it's a very violent book. So I just want to make sure that if you have kids in the room, have them leave now. But before we go into Plainer Jane by Broken Face, want to remind everybody that Forbidden launches on Kickstarter November 1st and on Indiegogo. It's a double launch campaign. So for Indiegogo supporters and Kickstarter supporters who don't want to cross over, I got you covered. And so join our launch party November 1st, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as we hit the button on both platforms, and we're hoping to break 100 backers. We have the first volume of the Forbidden Trade paperback available, as well as issue number 2 is going to be available, which is 32 pages, issue 2. And we introduced Primate Sandra, who is a new artist on the book. And again, the letter's done by George the Dreamer Medina. That cover right there, the main cover with the Superman pose, with Sin holding the sword. That's done by Anibal Arroyo. Then you have the variant cover, the homage cover by me. And then you have a surprise variant cover by John Coates. Not only that, but fans of Philip Russett's Tragedy and fans of Forbidden get a bonus incentive. We have a crossover incentive if we get to 75 backers. So if I get to 75 backers, you're going to get this incentive. You want to know what that is? You got to join us for the live launch on both Creators, CreatorCon and Catch the Craze podcast. Well, enough about me. Let's get into the book. So here's Plainer Jane. And first things first, I love the cover. I thought it was pretty cool because you have this woman sitting there reading a book, right? And then underneath the bed, there are some bodies. And looks like an ice pick. Could be a screwdriver. But obviously that, and then the colorist who did the cover as well did a great job. I mean, I think the use of color and lighting was really awesome. I like that logo for Broken Face. But again, I'm going to remind everybody, this is an adult-only book. This is not for kids. All right, so creative team, Wilburn, Loden, and Singh. And so Plainer Jane. Chapter 1, A Means to an End, written by David Wilburn, sequential artist Wayne Loden, cover artist Ralph Singh, colors by Robert Last, and logos and lettering by Tim West. And they were launched successfully on Kickstarter, and they actually have a Kickstarter coming up. And they have their landing page, and they're very successful on Kickstarter. So go over to their landing page. The link is in the summary below. Sign up for their launch on their campaign. So it's a black and white book, but the black and white complements this story. So I can imagine what it would look like in color, but I actually enjoy looking at it in black and white. So it starts off, a girl's on the bus, and she's talking about the use of disguises, right? And she's traveling on this bus, and she's talking about how easy it is to conceal yourself, just by having a wig and glasses and whatever. You can make yourself look older, younger, heavier, whatever. And so you can see she's taking off the gear, looking for an older woman. So obviously this is a skilled person in what they do, because traveling, any cameras that's going to see or pick up this person traveling is going to pick up an older woman. So if they're looking for this person, they're not going to be able to identify or locate. It's going to make it harder for the detectives, unless you're Sherlock Holmes. But so here she goes, and she's approaching this house. Boom, 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 boom. She knocks on the door, and now she looks like a little girl. So she knocks on the door, and she's like, I'm looking for my doggie, and the neighbor said that the doggie's hiding in your yard underneath your bushes or your hedges. Now, she even says, it's a bad idea to trust strangers however harmless they appear to you. But this man obviously doesn't heed the warning, because as humans, we all have the gift of that sixth sense, right? You're walking down an alley, you just feel like, you know what? I'm going to go right. I'm not going left. Something's telling me not to go down this road, right? You know, then next you know, you hear on the news somebody was killed in that same area that you avoided, right? So there's something internal that we know. But this guy didn't pay attention. I don't know if he was drinking. I don't know what was wrong with him, but he saw the little doggy, the little girl. He's like, all right, whatever. I mean, I'll help out the little girl. Not thinking anything of it. But obviously, and she goes into saying in the summary, she's talking about how you can kill someone, right? She goes, you can pierce a man's heart with an accurate puncture wound to the side of the chest. Man, this is demented. So even medium force is enough to drive the blade between the ribs towards the left sternal border and into the aorta, shredding the chamber, I believe that's what it is, and causing sudden massive internal bleeding. I worry about the writers because this is intense, right? So you had to do your research to find that out. And then there she goes, striking the blow. And again, it's almost like Frank Miller with the use of black and whites and then the dash of reds. And then she's, death comes quickly. So basically, this guy is blowing his family's fortune. And so the wife wants him done. And so I guess this is how the little girl came to be. Well, she's not a little girl. And her name is Jane. So 1 year ago, she walks away. He's dead. The woman has her money secure. So, and it's, they go in to say, Jane sits with the semi-popular kids. She does okay in class and is perfectly fine at sports and is of at least average intelligence. I would have to challenge that theory. I think she is above average, considering that she is very skilled in the art of destruction. So again, I like the wide angles. I like the lunchroom scene. I like that they keep changing. But this is where it gets a little demented, right? Even for me, because I'm a big animal lover, and this really, I was like, oh, man, they gotta lock that kid up. Or do the same thing she did to the animal to her. But anyway, so goes on and says, I was 7 years old when I carried out my first professional kill. So here come these boys. And again, when you don't have good home, well, she came from a good home, but the parents didn't see the signs. But these boys, basically, they don't recognize the fact that they're taunting a life, right? So they're like, kill that thing that's a dirty, rotten thing. And here she comes with a brick, and she smashes the bird. So now these big bad boys that are picking on a defenseless pigeon that's just walking around looking for food to bring home to its family, she sees this, she reacts, and the boys start calling her a creep. So she's like, don't you ever call me. They called her a freak. And so she goes to strike a blow at one of the boys until he urinates on himself. Right? And so she says, she got 50 cents or whatever it was. She goes, that was the first money I ever earned. My next kills were free. They were practice. So from that point on, she went on this rampage, killing dogs, suffocating fish, hammering rabbits, jumping down, dropping a brick on top of a tortoise. I mean, she's just demented. That kid has just got straight out of The Exorcist, bro. I was like, oh. Anyway, She said, and then she goes on to say, I want to be clear. My parents were perfect. Not so much, because they avoided every warning sign that you have Chucky in your house. Every warning sign. And they did exactly what most inexperienced parents do. They ignore it, hoping it'll get better on its own. You can't ignore the subject. You have to address the subject. You have to have the conversation. You have to explore. You have to probe. You have to get support from professionals that understand how to identify triggers and pull that out of you. I'm going on a tangent. Anyway, enough of that. So there she goes. No one hurt me. No one abused me. I am not a victim. This is just business. She's the victimizer. This is just business. So she tasted blood, and she fell in love with it. So a career day a year ago, she's with her friend, and obviously, there's still some tension with regards to men and women and choice of professions, because you have bricklaying and building apprenticeships for girls. Build your future. And she's like, all right, post-feminist world, my fatty spot arse. And girls, she's like, girls, we're women. And then she uses profanity, and she goes on from there. So there's this debate about what jobs should be for men, what jobs should be for women. And then they realize that you can get employment with the military. She says, watch, I could be a hired assassin. And this is her friend talking, but obviously she doesn't see anything wrong with, plain Jane doesn't see anything wrong with killing for money. Right, so they're going back and forth. She likes this boy, blah, blah, blah. She's teasing her about the boyfriend. And so here goes the conversation about the military. And she's like, I don't see anything wrong with it. Make money, kill people. Why not? So they go back and forth about the guy. And then she said, see you later. Don't trip over and fall over Andy's genitalia. I'm going to leave it at that. You can see what it says on the screen. YouTube, don't ban me. I am just doing a review. So, it says, my parents tried to shield me from the worst evils of the world. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Who's shielding us from you? Are you? Come on. Anyway, so the government, the internet, service providers, also keen players, keen to play their part, blocked the worst of the internet from view. And it took me 10 minutes to learn how to use a VPN to get straight onto what people like to call the dark web. And they go on to describe VPN, a virtual private network software used to conceal online activities and get through blocks and filters added to the internet. So obviously you can't keep anything from this one because she's going to find it. So she starts looking at all of the mented stuff. Assassinations, corruption, pornography, all that stuff. And she goes on to say, when I was small, a trip to the beach was a magical thing. Right? She says, the sea may have been cold, the fairground rides rusty, the sand dirty, from the detritus of a million other people, but the sun always seemed to shine, and the days went on for so long, and she goes on and on and on. Right? So here she goes. She sees a crab on its back. So the father's trying to teach her how to be a good servant of others, right? And treat animals kindly. So she says, what do we do? He says, well, you have to put him on his stomach so that way he can go back into the sea. But he's explaining to her, be careful, grab her from the back and turn it around so you don't get pricked. She says, okay. So she goes to do it. The father walks away. She does the opposite. She wants to see what it's like to get pricked. And then she leaves it on his back to see how long it takes for her to die in the sun. The father takes notice, but again, irresponsible of him. Does nothing with that information. I have a sadistic killer, potential serial killer in my family, and I'm doing nothing about it. So there at the camp, here we go. And this is what do you want to do tomorrow? I want to go swimming. And the mother's like, well, it's kind of cold. I'm not sure. The water's not, really safe. And she goes, a bit of cold wouldn't kill me. I'm not deadable, so who gives a shit? The father flips out. He says, we don't talk like that. Blah, blah, blah. Bans her to her tent. They start talking about a friend Kat signed up for nursing school, and they're going back and forth. And they go, what are you going to do with your life? And she goes, whatever. She goes, I guess I'll consider nursing school. They go on a debate. That's not what she wants to do. She doesn't want to nurse people to health. She wants to do the opposite. Right? So, again, many times, when the father banned her to the tent, he says, we'll have this conversation tomorrow. The conversation never took place. Shame, shame, shame. And so if you look hard enough, you can find websites where you can buy anything. So I signed up. I was online shopping for murders, robbery, blackmail, kidnapping. The higher your rating, the better the work. So her first job online was to kill a dog. And so, again, the dog barks a lot, shit's all over the place. They want him dead. So she researches how to do it, and she finds some sleeping pills in her mom's medicine cabinet. She finds some old dog food. She puts it together, and she goes over to see the dog. She sees the dog. She feeds the dog. She wants to see what it's like. The dog bites her. Obviously, she likes pain. She kills the dog. And that was the first time that she got paid, really paid. And so then she gets a text. I hear that you are looking for work. I think I have what you're looking for. And then it becomes and it starts from there. C+ for effort. Next time I'll do better. Next time it won't be a dang dog. So then they go on to thank their Kickstarter supporters and followers. And if you go to brokenfacecomics.com, you can sign up for the next campaign. And this is the end. So it's a very dark and gruesome book. Definitely is going to evoke some emotion in you. I'm a big animal lover, and so that bothered me. But these guys did a great job, not with the lighting, with the art, and with the storytelling. Because if you're able to do that and evoke emotion and tell a story visually and through words, and they both complement each other, you did a great job. So I can see why they're so successful on Kickstarter. So check out these guys. Visit their website again at brokenfacecomics.com. This was another episode of What's in a Box. If you want to be featured on What's in a Box, just hit me up. Send me a PDF copy to contact@catchthecraze.com. Contact@catchthecraze.com. That's with a D-A, not a T-H-E. Just look at the YouTube channel. You'll see the spelling right there. Hit me up. We get you featured on What's in the Box. Don't forget to sign up for Forbidden on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. Double launch. Subscribe to our channel. Give us a thumbs up. Let the world know that you support the brothers that have been supporting indie creators since 2005. Yes, we've been doing Catch the Craze since 2005. So, I appreciate you. Have a great day, and talk to you soon.
What's in the box?